so you have hip pain from yoga. In this video, we're gonna talk about what causes severe hip pain when you're doing yoga, how stretching and trying to relax and lengthen muscles can lead to worse hip mobility, and we're gonna talk about what you can do to solve your hip pain from yoga so that in the long run, you have healthy hips that carry you well through your life. If you watch through to the end of this video, you're going to understand what you need to do to keep your hips healthy and strong, even if you're doing a lot of yoga. So you've been getting flexible, you feel like, you've learned to relax your hamstrings and you're able to fold and all these things, and then suddenly, bam, you are losing range of motion, you're getting hard, painful jamming in your hip joint, and you just feel like this is not right. You may be thinking, maybe this is just old age suddenly rearing its head, and now I'm 45, 55, or 65, and now this is arthritis, or maybe I tore my labrum, or maybe I have this crazy bone growth or cysts or something that's stopping me from being able to move. Before you go too far down that path, I just want to remind you to ATM, always think muscles. You don't want to get caught in rips, rest, ice, injections, pills, and surgery. All of those approaches to hip pain will often lead to just frustration and a victim mentality that keeps you trapped with your pain and suffering. ATM keeps you thinking about something you can control, and it gives you a very clear, practical path to getting yourself out of hip pain. So to understand the cause of this lockup and lack of mobility that happens after you've been doing a bunch of yoga, we need to understand muscle imbalances and muscle dysfunction. I've got a really in-depth article about this that I will link to in the description box, but I'm going to give you some clear examples here now. We're talking about whether the muscles around the joint work well together and are able to create force that balances out front to back, side to side, and through rotational motion. When things get out of balance, a joint no longer moves well, and the muscles around the joint will complain. So a really easy example of this would be if all you did was train knee extension. So if I just put on an ankle weight, or I used really heavy weights and just kept doing knee extension, eventually my knee joint would not feel so good because I would have nothing but knee extensor muscles firing all the time, and my hamstrings would no longer be doing enough to counteract the forceful contractions on the front of the knee joint. Make sense? Another way to create a joint muscle imbalance is to let a muscle atrophy to the point where it's no longer able to stabilize or move the joint properly. For example, if I were to splint my arm or put it in a cast so that I wasn't able to flex my elbow anymore and I just had my arm stuck straight all the time, eventually my biceps would atrophy and would no longer provide the stability and would no longer have the strength to flex my arm well, and especially not against resistance. This is a key concept because if I allow these muscles to waste away and I just keep telling them to just ease up and relax, I will lose function at this joint and also this joint. Muscles move bones, and if the muscles are too weak to effectively move the bones, you now have a joint problem, which is just moving the bones in relationship to one another and in relationship to gravity and whatever other external forces are acting on your body. Wait, so what does this have to do with yoga? In a lot of yoga classes that you encounter in a modern Western context, you rarely hear anything about generating tension in those lengthened muscles. You're just teaching muscles to lengthen and relax and lengthen and relax and lengthen and relax. This is not necessarily a bad thing. For people who are really stiff and have trained their muscles to get stuck really short, learning to lengthen and relax is definitely a helpful, useful practice. However, when your only focus is relaxing and lengthening muscles, you will run into a big problem. If the muscles don't learn how to contract and generate strength in lengthened positions, you will have a joint that doesn't function properly. You may feel sharp pains in the muscle tissue really close to the joint. You may feel like the joint is wobbly and unstable. And in one of the most counterintuitive outcomes, you may find that the joint just locks up and no longer moves. To get rid of hip pain from yoga, you need to remember that your hip muscles need to have strength at every length. So even when they're short, they need to be able to generate contractile force. When they're long in that really lengthened position, they should also be able to generate force in order to have healthy functioning hips. This requires you to take a different approach to stretching. It means you want to use the muscles at lengthened positions. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of how you can tweak yoga ideas to help you build strength at every length. And so you understand what you can do to restore hip mobility and hip strength even if you've already developed hip pain from yoga. So let's look at an example of how you can be using muscles, contracting muscles in a yoga pose. So really classic, difficult position for a lot of people is the pigeon pose, right? So you get in this position where your leg is cut across your body. You get into roughly this position, but you can see I've now modified it a little bit. I've got a block here and a block under my butt so that I can maintain this position. And from here, instead of just kind of relaxing and flopping into it and trying to breathe and just let it all get long, I want to try to get this strong too. So I'm thinking about pushing the knee down into this block pretty much as hard as I can. I'm trying to generate some force. I'm trying to feel some butt muscle contraction while I'm in this position. Then, once I can actually feel it, I'm going to try to maintain that contraction, maintain that pressure down into the block while I fold into the pigeon. Now, sitting on the block like I am really helps, and I strongly suggest you give it a try like this because it gives you a little more stability so that you can feel and focus on getting this muscle to contract. So I'm just going down, keeping that contraction going, keeping that contraction going. Here, as I get lower, it's getting harder to feel the contraction, so I can just wait here, really try to fire, push into that block, feel the glutes burning and complaining, and then I can keep using them to bring me back up. Okay, then again, can do this for another repetition. We can do this 5 to 10 times and just find the glutes, find that firing sensation, and then come on back up. You want to be able to control your butt muscles in all of the angles of the pigeon pose. A lot of times people are just sort of like, oh, I'm down here, I'm relaxed, I'm finding nirvana, but you're not gonna find nirvana if you can't fire your glutes. So learn how to fire your glutes. Then as you get better at this, you can start taking away the help. You can start doing this without any blocks. You can start trying to do this just straight on the floor and then go into it and then back out. I find having a block to just position me is generally really helpful, and then I can just work on folding into it and coming back out. Find the amount of help you need. If you need to hold onto a chair or a couch, that's great. The real goal is to feel the glutes squeezing so that when you go into something like the pigeon pose, you aren't just going lax and letting everything just fall to pieces. Another example of a yoga pose that can eventually lead to some issues is just doing the forward fold over and over and over again and just trying to relax and lengthen, relax and lengthen, and trying to get down into China. Look, it's okay. It's definitely okay to be developing lengthened hamstrings, but you still need to get strength in your hamstrings at a lengthened position to avoid hip pain from yoga and to prevent hip pain from yoga and to fix hip pain from yoga. So rather than just focusing on getting that nice long lengthening, you can also think about getting strength in your hamstrings from that position. So let's say you go down into that lengthened position. Instead of just curling up and rolling yourself gradually back up, you can get down there. Think about keeping the spine nice and straight. You can reach out. This is going to make the lever longer. It's going to force the hamstrings to work. And then you're going to think about using the hamstrings, really. Think about the hamstrings, cranking your pelvis back up, okay? And you can even do it going back down. This adds weight This adds resistance. This adds work to your hamstrings. Now, if you want to make this harder, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can just grab a weight of some kind and do it. Nice and easy. Control it. Feel the hamstrings lengthening, and make sure you teach them to strengthen. So lengthening and strengthening. Get to where you can get safely with a nice straight spine, and then pull yourself back up using the power of the hamstrings. The other option, if you don't want to use a weight, you're just out and about and you'd like to do this at a park somewhere and you don't want to carry weights around, is you could just shift so you're only using one leg at a time. And then again, you have added demand to the hamstrings on the one leg that you have straight and working. The other leg is just helping you out. This other leg you can position differently just to help you get the angle. I found personally for me that my hip liked to cheat and abduct, so I needed to trap my body so I could keep my pelvis in position and get the hamstrings to lengthen and strengthen. You may find that you need to have your foot somewhere else to avoid involuntary motion. That's fine. Ultimately, you want to be able to just go ahead and control it pretty well down and pretty well back up. And if you can do that holding on to weight, that's even better. This is one example of how you can build strength at every length instead of just getting loose, relaxed, and sloppy. Building that strength at every length is going to help you fix your hip pain from yoga. If you want to work with these exercises at home, I'd suggest working with them twice a week and do 2 sets each time you're doing them. Pay attention to what your body tells you and pay attention to just how hard it is to generate a contraction in those muscle fibers in those lengthened positions. I'm also going to leave you some more links in the description box to help you wake up your hip muscles and get rid of your hip pain from yoga. If you've been told that your hip pain is from hip impingement or FAI, be sure to check out the FAI Fix link in the description box so you have a program to help you systematically improve your hip function. And if you haven't been told you have hip impingement and you just want to explore in a systematic way your own hip mobility, I invite you to check out the link to the Healthy Hips program, which you'll find down there as well. So a quick recap to make sure you understand what to do about hip pain from yoga. First, ATM, always think muscles so you don't get caught in rips, because rips are no fun. Then start to explore strength at every length to make sure that you have good hip muscle function that'll keep you pain-free, mobile, and strong for the rest of your life. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification icon so you don't miss out on future videos. Share this with another yoga practitioner whose hips are feeling like crap. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.